Stop scrolling. What if I told you everything you've ever learned about electricity is wrong? Not slightly wrong, completely wrong. Right now, you probably imagine electricity as tiny electrons racing through wires at lightning speed, like water rushing through a pipe. But here's the shocking truth: those electrons barely move. In fact, they crawl. Yet somehow, the moment you flip a switch, the light turns on instantly. So if the electrons aren't moving fast, what actually delivers the energy? This is the part most people never hear. And once you understand it, you'll never look at electricity the same way again. Because according to Richard Feynman, the real story isn't just surprising, it's almost unbelievable. Have you ever stopped to wonder if everything you think you know about electricity is completely wrong? Most people imagine electricity as a simple flow of electrons rushing through wires, like water in a pipe. But Richard Feynman, one of the greatest physicists of all time, argued that this is a massive misconception. The truth is far more fascinating, and it defies our everyday intuition. When you flip a light switch, you see the bulb glow instantly. But the electrons themselves are not racing from the power plant to your home at lightning speed. In fact, they move incredibly slowly, sometimes just millimeters per second, yet the effect of electricity is immediate. How is this possible? The answer lies in something invisible, a phenomenon that surrounds every wire and component in your circuit: the electric field. Energy travels almost instantaneously through this field, reaching your devices faster than your eyes can follow. Feynman emphasized that the electrons are not the heroes here. It is the energy, transmitted via the field, that powers our world. This realization overturns the way we think about everyday electricity, showing us that what appears simple on the surface is actually an elegant, invisible system operating in perfect harmony. It also challenges our habit of relying on convenient analogies, like comparing electricity to water flow, which can mislead more than it teaches. The moment we grasp this truth, we start to see the complexity and beauty of the world around us in a completely new light. And suddenly, something as ordinary as turning on a switch becomes a window into one of nature's most profound secrets.
But there's more. Understanding electricity in this way changes everything, not just in science, but in the way we think about cause and effect in the physical world. Feynman pointed out that while electrons themselves drift slowly through a circuit, energy is transferred in an almost instantaneous dance, guided by invisible forces and fields. This is why a motor starts spinning the moment you supply power, or a heater warms a room almost instantly, even though the electrons are moving inch by inch. Electricity is not consumed or used up in the way many people imagine. Instead, it transforms from one form to another. Light, heat, motion, all are expressions of energy flowing through the circuit, facilitated by the electric field, not by electrons themselves racing along the wires. This subtle but critical distinction is what makes electricity both mysterious and beautiful. It also reveals a fundamental lesson that Feynman loved to teach. Confusion is not failure, but the doorway to deeper understanding. When you realize that the world does not operate according to simple, intuitive analogies, and that some forces are invisible yet immensely powerful, you develop a kind of scientific humility and wonder. Every time a device powers on or a bulb glows, you are witnessing a perfect orchestration of energy, fields, and forces that have existed silently around us for centuries. Feynman's insight reminds us that knowledge is not about memorizing facts, but about seeing the hidden patterns in nature and appreciating the elegance that underlies even the most ordinary phenomena. So the next time you flip a switch and the room fills with light, or your phone charges in seconds, take a moment to appreciate what is really happening. Electricity is not merely the flow of electrons. It is a dynamic, invisible dance of energy and fields, acting in perfect harmony, silently powering our modern lives. This realization transforms a mundane act into something extraordinary, revealing the hidden beauty of the universe in the simplest moments. Feynman encouraged us to embrace the complexity, to question the oversimplified analogies, and to recognize that nature often defies our everyday intuition. The electrons drift slowly, but energy races instantly. The fields are invisible, but their effect is undeniable. By seeing electricity this way, we begin to perceive the world in a new light, understanding that every switch, every wire, and every circuit is part of an intricate, invisible system, orchestrated perfectly by the laws of physics. And this is exactly what makes electricity one of the most elegant and awe-inspiring forces in our lives, reminding us that reality is far more fascinating than our first impressions suggest, and that the pursuit of true understanding is a journey filled with wonder, surprise, and profound insight.
But here is where it gets even more fascinating. If electricity is not just about electrons moving through wires, then what we experience every day is only a small part of a much deeper reality. The energy that powers your devices is not actually traveling inside the wires alone. It exists in the space around them, carried by invisible electric fields that respond instantly the moment you flip a switch. This means that when you turn something on, you are not simply sending electricity from one place to another. You are triggering a change that spreads across the entire system almost immediately. The energy was already there, and in a fraction of a second, it begins to flow in a perfectly organized way. This completely changes how we see the world. What looks simple on the surface is actually built on invisible forces, working together in perfect harmony. Electricity is not just a flow, it is a system, a hidden structure that surrounds us at all times. And once you understand this, something incredible happens. You begin to realize that the world is far more complex and far more beautiful than it first appears. Every light that turns on, every device that powers up, is a reminder that we are living inside a universe filled with unseen forces and elegant design. If this changed the way you think, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more mind-blowing ideas that will completely transform how you see reality.